Hello and welcome to another tutorial from Colour with Claire. Today I'm going to be showing you how to create this beautiful iridescent, pearlescent type of texture with coloured pencils. Now this is ideal for anything like dragon scales, snake skin, or even just any blank large area of your colouring page that needs filling in. So for example, Kirby Roseanne's first two books featured quite a lot of line art that didn't have too much in it, and it was there for you to fill in. Now I know a lot of people like myself are not comfortable or adept with drawing, so if you can fill in those kind of spaces with coloured pencil, I think it's going to be easier for everybody and just preferable. It is for me anyway. So you can use that on that kind of thing. Any kind of colouring page that's got an area that's blank, you can fill it in with this texture and it looks fantastic. So you can see that I'm doing this on the back of a turtle shell, and this book is Doodles from the Den by Kim White, and I'll be leaving the link in the description for you to go and buy that if you wish. So pencils, now I use Prismacolor, as you know, mostly, and you can do this technique with any other kind of pencil as long as it's a soft pencil. So I know that some colourists do prefer harder pencils, and that's okay. You probably could do something similar to this, but it is quite difficult with hard pencils to get this very blurred, smooth look that we're going for here. So try and use the softest pencils possible to get those blends kind of really easy to do. So I'm going to show you the colours that I'll be using today. We have black and white, light aqua, violet, pink and cream, and I'll be leaving all those colours and the numbers in the description as well. So first of all, you take your violet, and it's very, very random. There's no real rhyme or reason to where you're going to put your squiggles, your lines. It's just very, very all over the place. So don't worry about having to get it perfect or looking exactly the same as mine. Basically, if you just follow the technique and don't worry about it, it'll turn out fine, because as I say, all the lines are completely different on every single scale, so you don't have to worry about that. So with your violet, you want to start at an edge. So I'm going to start here at this top corner, and we're going to be doing 2 layers. So this is not going to be anything long, laborious, difficult. You know my tutorials are always easy and simple and quick. It's just 2 layers, this one. So you're taking your violet, you're not putting any pressure on it really whatsoever, just the slightest bit of pressure, but you are just giving it 1 layer so you can see a lot of tooth underneath still. Now I'm going to just bring it out in a line, and it's a very kind of organic line. It doesn't follow any pattern, like I said, so just do it however you want to do it. As long as it kind of comes out from this area, you can do it in zigzags like this, you can do it in more flowing lines, you can just do it in one curve. It's totally up to you. Have a play with it. So once you have done a bit of a line and you're happy with how that looks, you can come in from another area of the scale. So I'm going to start in the centre this time rather than a corner over here at the opposite side. And I'm just going to do a bit of a curve this way. So this isn't planned, it's just wherever I feel like putting the lines at the time. So you can see you've got a base layer there. It's not filled in the tooth, it's not burnished, because we will do that next. But at least you know where you're putting your lines. It's just a guide at the moment. So a couple of little lines like that, you don't have to do anything particularly fancy. Then you would come in with your pink, and this will go on one side of the purple. So I'm choosing this side here, and I'm going over the edge of the purple and bringing the pink out as well. So you've got a kind of a blend going on with the purple and the pink at the edge, but you're also bringing out the pink into its own right as well. And you can bring that out into a curve or a line or a zigzag if you wanted to. Here we go. And then you could bring your pink underneath this purple here. You could kind of fill in this whole area if you wanted to. There we go. So that is our first layer of pink. Then you want to bring in your aqua, light aqua, and go to the other side of the purple. So this is the top. Again, we're overlapping the edge of the purple with the green, and we're bringing it out so it's got a lot of itself on there as well, rather than just being a transition colour, if that makes sense. So just following the line of the purple that you've already put down. You can make your areas of colour thicker in some places and thinner and tapered in other places. Totally up to you. Again, this is just a first base layer, so don't worry about getting it perfect just yet. I'm going to bring that green just into there a little bit, but still just keeping it on that side of the purple. The green and the pink doesn't really blend well together, but the purple and the green and the purple and the pink do. So you kind of have to separate the pink and the green with the purple. So once you've got your lines down there and you think that looks okay, you can then come in with a layer of cream. And we're going to fill in the rest of the space. So again, very light pressure, not burnishing, just filling in the space. So we've got no white left on this. Now comes the second layer, and this is where we start to burnish it up. So we're going to go back in with our first colour, which was violet, and we're going to go into all of those places that we started off, and we're going to really deepen the pressure. So nice and hard, following the exact same line that you put in before. So you can see we've redefined that line again. Making sure it's nice and heavy in the centre of the line. So right on the line should be really dark. But when you come away from the line, we want to kind of ghost the colour a little bit. So very light pressure around the line, because that's going to make it easier for us to blend in with the other colours. So just very light pressure around the line, whispering a little bit of colour either side. And that'd be easier for our colours to blend into, you see. Same again on this side, so fully burnishing. And then very light whisper of colour on the pink and the green. So it's kind of like a fuzzy edge, very dark in the centre, going fading out on either side. So when you've done that, you go back in with your next colour, which was the pink, I think, and you're going to blend those two lines together. So where you've left that fuzzy edge of purple, the pink will really nicely blend in if you're using soft pencils. Prismas are my favourite because they just don't take any effort whatsoever. So you're bringing the pink out again. The area that was solid pink is going to deepen up now. But just as you did with the purple, you need to make sure that you have a fuzzy edge for your cream to blend into. Same again on this side. You see how it's just merged with the purple really nicely. You need to find colours that blend well together sort of naturally for this. You don't have to use these exact colours, you could change it up a little bit, but as long as they do blend and they're not kind of opposite each other on the wheel, you should be fine. The colour wheel, that is. So we've got our pink there. Now we're going to go in with the aqua. Blend that in, deepen that up. fading out the edge for the cream. Getting quite a bit of pencil dust on this because I am pressing quite hard. I want it to be fully burnished and completely saturated with colour. So leaving that fuzzy edge again. And then you're bringing in the final colour, which is cream. And that should just very nicely blur the edge of your colours. So quite hard pressure. And the cream kind of acts as a blender, so you can see it just softening all the edges and blurring it all. So that's the green blended. Now you can go to your pink, just make sure your cream is nice and clean. You see how it's just starting to really soften up now. You've still got those bright pops of colour, but all of the edges are very melty and soft. So if there are any areas at this stage that you're not happy with, if they look a bit too harsh, you can go back in. For example, this purple here just looks a little bit too, the edge is too harsh, it's too linear. So I'm just going to very lightly ghost the violet over the top and make that edge just a little more soft, a little softer. There we go. Now, you know that I'm all about the contrast to make things pop, and there's one final colour that you need to add to really bring this out. Now, that is black, and you'll just see when I add this the difference that it makes. So at the moment, we've just got our colours on there. Now, with the violet areas, you want to go right to the edge of them and add in a layer of black. You don't have to be too heavy with it, just go over the top, just skim over it. Because you've burnished it out, you're not going to have kind of any room to play with it, so you just have to skim over the top, very lightly, just adding that bit of depth to the edge. And hopefully you can see the difference that that has made. Just adding that little bit of black, it has really deepened up the look of the scale. It's pushing the edges away, it's bringing the colour forward. I'm just adding in a little bit of violet to blend it out here and there. But the black is really the cherry on the cake for finishing the scale off. Now there's one other thing you can do with the white pencil if you wish, and that's just to add a little bit of white into the centre of the cream areas. And that's, you know, if you're able to. If you've maxed it out and you completely can't do any more layers, then don't worry about it. You could even use a white gel pen or something if you wanted to. But I'm taking this very sharp white pencil and I'm just going into the centre of the cream area very quickly and just adding a bit of white there. And again, it just serves to maximise that contrast. We've got white on here and we've got black on here, the lightest and the darkest you can possibly go together, and that really makes your colouring pop. I will get round one day to eventually filming a video about contrast in its own right. I know I talk about it on pretty much every tutorial, but it hasn't got its own video. So I will get round to that one day. But there we go. So you've added the white. That also adds to the kind of milkiness, the look of, like looking inside of a seashell. So that's it, that's the technique. Just making sure that it looks nice and blurred on the edges, and if there are any areas that you're not happy with, as I say, you can just kind of go back in and very, very lightly add just a sprinkle of pigment on the edges, and it should just soften it up nicely. Now, for the little turtle, I'm thinking about going a bit Northern Lights. Same kind of technique, but with greens instead of a plethora of colours there. So I've chosen grass green, true green and yellow chartreuse just to have a quick go on the scale. Now this is not pre-prepared, I've not tested it or anything, so I'm hoping it's going to work out. I'm going to take that darkest grass green and we'll go in here on this middle scale of the turtle's shell. And we'll do exactly the same thing. So we'll bring a line out, maybe go down here this time. Got a bit less room to work with, so you have to factor that in depending on the space you have in your illustration. And then maybe I'll put a little bit over here as well, just creeping in. So you can use pretty much any colours that you want to create whatever effect it is, but this is kind of the pearlescent sort of inside of a seashell thing, like I said, but this one is going to look more kind of Northern Lightsy, if that's a word. It is now. Now we've got true green. Oh, it's broken. Give me a sec. You know what, that's the first Prismacolor tip that I've broken in a long time, and it had to be on video. Right, so I'm going around the grass green. This time I'm going to go around both edges because we don't really have any opposite colours that we need to separate like we did with the purple. So I'm just going to follow around the edges of the grass green. Now you can see when you do that it does kind of lift the colour of the grass green, it desaturates it a little, so that's why you come in with the second layer and deepen it up again. Now with the yellow chartreuse, just going to go around the edges again of the true green that we just put down. I'm going to try and leave a little bit of white space in the centre rather than adding the white pencil, just because it's easier, I think, to leave that space if you can, rather than having to go over with the white pencil. So I was just adding a little bit more true green there just to make sure we've got a nice blended area. And there we go. So we've added the yellow chartreuse all the way around. Now we're going to go back with our quick second layer and add in the grass green again. So we're deepening up that pigment, that saturation of colour, bringing it to sort of full vibrancy. Again with the true green. And the yellow chartreuse finally. Now don't forget, for that finishing touch, we're going to add a bit of black to the grass green at the very edge, quite lightly. We don't want it to be this huge solid area of black. We want it to look like the green is coming out of the black. It's merged from it rather than being a separate entity. So just a little bit of black on the edge. The same over here. Nice and light as you come in, because we want it to blend in with the grass green. And you can bring your grass green in again to act as that blender. Push the black away a little bit and make it look all nice and smooth. So there is what I would call a Northern Lights combo. This one I would call it kind of a seashell sort of pearlescent look, but I think you can see that you could pretty much do it with any kind of colour. It's not going to matter, it's going to look fantastic because it's all nice and blended in and very soft and organic looking. So try it out with all loads of different colours, see what you come up with. Please show me the finished pieces on any of my social medias that you find me on. I'd love to see it, and I really hope that you have taken something away from this video, that you've learnt to maybe do something you didn't know how to do before. And thank you so much for watching. Check the description for all the links you'll need and all the coloured pencil names and numbers, and please give the video a thumbs up. Thank you so much, and I'll see you soon on Colour with Claire.